Hello everybody, it's vanburman here. Welcome back to the third part of my end of year 2020 videos. This one is the big one, the top 5 games that released in 2020. I know there's loads of publishers and developers that have been waiting for my particular take on it, you know, for all of the 10 people that watch this and how much that affects their opinions on things. I don't know. No, it's more of it is purely because it's a tradition at this point. I've had some really good end of year ones in previous years, you know, where I've really struggled to pick top 5. This year wasn't too bad, actually, considering. I did have a good think about which ones I wanted to put in that I'd played, hence why we had the previous category for, you know, my top games that I've played in 2020, not just ones that were released. So yeah, it just sort of adds a fresh element to these lists, and yeah, well, without any further ado, let's get into this. Number 5 is the free-to-play game on Steam that I covered on the channel. I did a video on it, playing on my screen's native resolution, really wide, or might have been when I had the normal ultra wide. But that is Sky. It's an atmospheric sort of casual game, I guess. It's got a very nice sort of water painted style aesthetic to it. The music's very calm, soothing. It's, you know, just a game that you sit down, play, relax to. Brilliant on wider screen monitors as well. So you tend to fly the aeroplane on those watercraft ones with the, well, they've got little skis, don't they? I don't know enough about it to say accurately. And you just go around collecting the telescopes, and you go around helping the guy with his plane to get repairs. There's a bit of a story to it, not anything that is, you know, insightful or even for you to really think about. Fly here, collect them, go through these hoops, you know, and it is just a game that you can relax to. And I think that a lot of the time, we don't generally tend to see them a huge amount of the time to that sort of level. I mean, I would say probably a game I would link it to being similar to, or my first experience to, would be Flowers for the PlayStation 3. Was it Flower? Can't remember now. But similar sort of concept there, where, you know, it is more of just like an atmospheric experience. And it is one of the games that I really enjoyed this year, and actually sort of took me a little bit by surprise, I guess, because not normally the sort of thing that I do go out of my way to play. So, I mean, if it is anything that has any interest to you at all, I recommend going and having a look. Like I say, it is free on Steam. I haven't checked that actually as of, well, since I first played it, but I imagine that it still is. And it's, yeah, well worth your time and having a look at. So, and in fact, I did actually get in contact with the developers for that, and now I remember. And they're a sort of like group of students that did it as a project, as far as I'm aware. And, you know, they don't actually take, they did it as, sorry, they don't take any donations or anything like that for it. Because it was purely a, you know, not-for-profit project. So I don't imagine it would cost anything now. But yeah, really cool little thing that they put together there, and sort of well worth the time and effort that the team put in. And, you know, for that, it's well deserving being on this list. It's free, which always helps. Made by a group of people, bit of a passion project, a work project, you know, so yeah, well deserving. Go check it out. It's number 5, that's Sky. And number 4 is a game that I heard about for a long while, but actually didn't play until this month. I believe it came in October actually anyway though. And that is Hades. It's made by Supergiant Games. I think that's what they're called. They made Transistor, Bastion, and another one that eludes me. Big one that eludes me now. But Bastion I really enjoyed years and years ago. Transistor I think is actually probably the best one that they've made. And it's one that I was sort of really into. I quite liked the fact that you had all these different abilities and the story, the aesthetics. You know, I'll go back and play it quite like right now, I guess. But it's just nice that, you know, you've got those sort of games that sort of exist within their own bubble in terms of their play style and the stories that go along with them. Now, with Hades, it's a little bit different. It's a roguelike game. Don't know if you've ever played any of them. I'm always sort of a bit on the fence about them, and I think that's probably why this game is a bit lower down, because while I think the graphics are really good, it's got a bit of a story to it. I'm not 100% sure where that's going to go, because I do keep dying. It's one of those ones of games that will challenge you, as all roguelike games are. Basically, you go through the levels, you get power-ups as you go, power-ups different each time, and you are able to collect a resource of kind, whatever it may be. It's different for different games. Sometimes it's gold in Rogue Legacy, for example. And then you can have some permanent upgrades, so you might have a cheat death permanent upgrade. Every time you die, you get brought back with 40% of your health, so you get like a one-time effect for each run. And then when you do die, you start again at the beginning. And usually at some point there's a bit of a shortcut that gets you sort of where you can like skip the first level or the first two levels or whatever it is after you've completed them so many times. And you have a boss at the end of each sort of major stage. So it's a bit like, I guess, a sort of hardcore mode, I guess, in any other sort of game, but with some permanent bonuses that you can get as you progress, which obviously make things slightly easier. In Hades, you get different weapons that you can have, upgrade to your sort of base attack stance, obviously that cheat death one, like I mentioned. And there are more, different types of weapons as well, which need a different commodity. You can then get memories and Titan blood to increase your actual weapons as well. So there is a good amount of permanent upgrade you can get, which I think is a bit like, it sort of helps the players, helps people playing it in terms of like more, I guess, casual players or players that don't quite like that genre as much like me, because it gives you more of a carrot rather than a stick. You know, you do get to carry on a lot of the bonuses, which I quite like, because I think that's sort of needed, especially for these type of games. But, you know, some people just enjoy it for the pure challenge, which I totally understand. Rogue Legacy did a really good job of it as well. But being done by Supergiant Games, you know, you get that sort of really nice, this one's a little bit different to the other two, but really nice sort of faux, almost comic booky style. I don't know if I've got that quite right, but nevertheless, you know, really interesting to play. I recommend going and picking it up, especially as it's, at the time of filming, it's currently on sale on all the major platforms. I was considering actually getting it on the Switch, because I think it would be a really good game to play on there. But I did eventually plumb for getting it on Steam on the computer. So yeah, just one of them. Surprised me because it's really good. It's been really well critically acclaimed by the review outlets and stuff as well, and yeah, no less from me. So that's why it's got number 4. Number 4. So number 3, and the bronze medal for 2020. This is quite funny really, because this was on my previous video, which was the top 5 disappointments. But, you know, I said it was a very good game, a great game. And that is Cyberpunk 2077, makes its appearance. I know it's a bit weird, I guess, to have the juxtaposition of having it on the disappointment list and then having it on the top 5 games. And it's well deserved to be on there. It's a very good game, great game, as I said, in its own right. And it does deserve to be on there. Not that it's not a disappointment, not that, you know, it doesn't have its share of bugs and issues, especially on other consoles. I've mentioned all that before, but, you know, these are the reasons why it misses out on being the top game, which I fully expected it to be. And the fact that it's number 3, really, if you guys are watching this, I think you should be seeing this as a disappointment. You know, it's one of the biggest RPGs to come out, especially in terms of hype anyway, for many years. It's not better than the Outer Worlds that was released last year, that were my top 5 games last year, and it's not in the same category. And I think not in the same, well, say an 8 out of 10 game, not a 9 out of 10 game. That's for a start. That's the point. And I think, you know, this is why I wanted to do a top 5 games that we look on a much longer scale, which I may well do although I've done so many of these videos now that I want to move on to doing something else. But yeah, and you know, I think when you start seeing the true stack, you sort of realise actually how far down Cyberpunk is and while it is a great game, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, I must say, it has only deserved the number 3 slot this year, but I hope they continue to support it, you know, and it's got every chance, and I generally mean this, every chance of being on, you know, the top 5 games in 2021 potentially, you know, if they can sort of keep me interested, keep me playing, and I'm still playing it at the minute, of course, so yeah, there you go. That's number 3, Cyberpunk 2077. Number 2 on the list is Boulders Gate 3. This one is a real difficult one for me because in one sense I didn't want to have it in this list. I wanted to have it in my first list of games because it is one that I've really properly enjoyed more than I thought I could. And I already liked the Boulders Gate franchise series, whatever you want to call it. But this one was like almost up to a new bar. I felt like it's not perfect, you know, there are bugs, well, there are glitches, very few, I must say. I was really surprised by the lack of for such an early access game. Now they've only released the first act or so of the game. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have played all the way through it. If I had done, I don't know, the way it was going, I would be surprised. I would be really surprised if it didn't hit number 1. And I think that was my disappointment for including it on this list, is that, you know, I'd love to say top game, easy peasy, you know, give it its credit, give it its dues, if it carried on, obviously. But, you know, they have released it in this game for full price, for £50. You know, it's no joke. I hope that it lives up to that price tag when it finally releases, and I can't see at the minute see any reason why it wouldn't if we carry on the current trend. But yeah, the fact that they've gone in so hard so early forces me, in reaction, to put it on for, you know, actually as being released in 2020. So that's, for me, a bit of a shame. But I always say with, you know, early access games, with alpha, beta, as soon as you sort of have to pay for it, you have to judge it based on how much you enjoyed that much that you got to pay, that you got to play. I don't think it's worth £50 at the minute, which, you know, is why we are where we are. But in terms of enjoyment, I enjoyed it a, you know, heck of a lot this year. You know, probably beating out pretty much all of the games on the games that I played in this year. So that's why I think it deserves number 2, and I think it's worth giving it a play. I would honestly wait until it fully releases. That's my plan now. I don't want to play any of the smaller updates or anything. I want to wait until we get a full release, play it again, because I think you have to, from what I've heard, you've got to play it from the start again anyway. So, you know, take on a new character, take on a new challenge, and yeah, go through and play the whole game, and we'll see where we're at. But yes, I really can't recommend it enough, and hopefully I can continue with that recommendation when we've got the full game. That was number 2, Boulders Gate 3. And the top game of 2020, or my top game for 2020, is Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord. Oof. So this one is another difficult one in the same way that Boulders Gate is. Bannerlord was released unfinished as beta, but me playing it in its state as it was, and I played it on day 1, of course, for a long while. And I haven't played it recently with any of the updates, but each update has got better, and it's been weekly updates, and you can actually see where the game is progressing, which I really quite like for that type of game. And yeah, it just does everything the Warband did, and adds in, you know, the extra features. While it being more the same, it's not a problem because it's been that long between the two. I think the graphics are really nice. It's still, you know, got the odd nuance that you get in all of the Mountain Blade games, but it's fine. You know, the combat is very much as it was, which I think is quite nice. You've got the new elements of the bandit camps and the main story being a bit more fleshed out as well, which I quite like. It's got all the same, you know, kingdom building elements in there as well. I think, you know, as we see it mature, we're going to see a much greater game upon like a full release. But at the moment, yeah, it's, you know, I'm giving it a score based on how much I enjoyed it, not what I think it will be. But I don't think there will be, I don't think it will attain a higher score even when it's finished. And that, for me, for the purposes of this video, it gets a 9 out of 10 from me. One of the best games I've played this year. One of the best games I've played for the last 5 years, for sure. Definitely be on some sort of top list. So, you know, I always think, I've sort of got it in my mind now that, you know, I compare last year's top game to this year's top game, The Outer Worlds and then Bannerlord, and yeah, they're very much well matched in terms of my opinion and my enjoyment of them, and they're both deserving of the #1 spot, you know, especially when you have to bet, you know, that's my bar. The bar is what's last year's winner. And I think for 21, we're going to have to see something pretty good. I'm hoping, like I said before, that we see more advancement on Boulders Gate, maybe get that fully released. We also hopefully see a lot more stuff on Bannerlord, because it's something that, once we release a few more updates, I'd like to get back in, play again, especially with the amount of support from the community that Warband got as well, with the different mods. And we've already started seeing that with Bannerlord to a degree. You know, the modding community really sort of grabbed it by both hands, which is really good to see. And I think when we start seeing, you know, big massive overhaul mods, maybe like a Lord of the Rings overhaul mod, that would be really good. That'd be really nice. And yeah, I think there's plenty more enjoyment to have. I think the multiplayer mode, even though it's been in its infancy when I played it, it was still really good fun. And yeah, I really don't have too much to complain about it. I didn't experience the bugs and glitches that some people did, unfortunately, so I can't really comment on that. You know, unlike Cyberpunk, where I have experienced some of the game-breaking glitches and bugs that other people have had. It's just one of them, you know, my personal experience. I think if I forget to put this down in the comments, it is worth noting that this video is based on my own experience throughout the year. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed these videos, especially this one. It's the big one. And let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, let me know what you played that you really enjoyed. As I say, chances are I may not have played it, but there you go. I'll see you all very soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Oh, have a good 2021 as well, of course.